Okay, so we are in the Walmart parking lot. Tulare. A lot of things happened here in this parking lot as well. So there was some skateboarders that busted my car window. So I'm walking across this parking lot, and there's a couple of guys over here that are talking trash. You know, I turned around and walked back to my car. My car was parked over there. It was when I had the dog car. And this is where I made a kind of another mistake. I got into my car and I went over here to, I don't know, I guess I was gonna tell them off. One of the guys that was talking a lot of smack had gone into Walmart. I waited for him in my car, and then he got back, and I don't know, we exchanged some words or something like that. I took off driving down one of these aisles, and they started skateboarding after me, and I have some pictures that I should still have them somewhere, of them kind of chasing me with their skateboard. And so I took back off and I went and parked my car back over there, and I'll show you where it was at. I was parked my car back over there. I wasn't done with it, and they had stopped chasing me, and I went over there and I wasn't done with it, and so I hopped out of my car and I grabbed my mace. They were there's a smoke shop right over there. There's Foods Co., there's Walmart, there is a smoke shop right over there. So I started heading towards that way, to that smoke shop. I saw them skateboarding out, and so I kind of chased after them a little bit, but they were on their skateboards, and so there wasn't much I could really do. You know, I couldn't catch up to them. But then my car was parked over there in that parking lot. I was, you know, a few hundred feet away from the guy. Then I saw him get off his skateboard and take the skateboard to my front windshield. I didn't even do anything. I didn't call the cops. I didn't chase after him. I just kind of sat there and was like kind of bummed about it. I didn't really even do anything about it because again, the cops aren't here to help me. The cops weren't going to be in any help of that whatsoever, and so I just kind of kept it like that. It was out of gas. I didn't have any money. I ended up having another incident where I did end up having to call the cops. It was about the guy who kicked in the door. I seen his buddy around all the time. He was talking to me. Well, he didn't. He would kind of like talk like it was underneath it all. He was just always skateboarding around. He would said something about like going to Western or something, and I was like, oh yeah, I used to go to Western at the Oval, and the Oval was where all the popular kids hung out, and that's where Sarah, Sabrina, and this other girl Brittany probably hung out. And then he's also the guy who put up the Your Life stickers over there by the JB thing where I was attacked at. When I initially left the dirt road off of McLovin, and I left that area, and I came over here, and I can't remember the full thing, but I would park in various spots. The manager from Walmart came out and told me that I needed to leave this parking lot. I don't think I put up too much of an argument with her, but then cops kind of showed up anyways to kind of like support or something. She says, well, you could either leave now or I could ask the police officers to ask you to leave. And so I said, well, I'll leave. And then there was a guy that came up to one of the police officers' vehicles. He made it look like he was asking for stickers, like those police officer stickers for kids. The police officer in his response got on the loudspeaker, on his megaphone thing, on his loudspeaker, and said, sorry, he said, no more stickers. This was shortly after I left the dirt road area over there by McLovin and got into that argument with that dude who told me that, you know, to get out of there, or, you know, he was going to me. So it sounds pretty darn close. Also, there's a big 5 right here, right there. And when I left from the dirt road by the truck stop, I call it McLovin truck stop area, I parked kind of right in this area right here, and a gentleman came up to me. I was putting up my cardboard, I think, on my window, and he goes, is that your sign? I don't know what I said. He goes, well, I got a sign too. Here's your sign, or something like that. And it was pretty prevalent because there was like this big 5 there. I believe it could have been like a symbol, some kind of sign. Nobody at that time, didn't know me. They didn't know my story, but most of the time in the early stages of things, there wasn't a lot of reactionary stuff that was going on. And so I remember this employee it was from Love's, and she was outside taking a break, and she was on her phone, and she knew I was sitting there, and she gave me kind of like a signal in the back of her hand, and she did a 5. I can't remember when this was. This must have been like 2017, 2018, 2019, I somewhere around in those years. So I didn't really think nothing of it. 5, I always thought would meant like maybe May. I didn't know if it meant like 5 more years. There was a watch, and ever since then she had like a watch on, and she did like the number 5, and I really still don't even know really what that meant, or if it was actually meant to be on purpose. But ever since then, that has always been kind of like something that stayed in my mind. And they play on that, like they'll tell me, watch out. The whole thing has been like watching, like if you have a wristwatch, but they're also watching me. They're telling me right now, they're telepathically telling me that they're going to run me out of town. There's a couple people that I'm not naming their names, but are telling me that they're going to try to run me out of town. They want me in this big scare tactic, Fear Factor, while I'm here recording, because words got out that I'm out here documenting my life, and I'm pretty much throwing all of these people under the bus. And so they want me in this big giant fear thing and that kind of stuff. Something might happen. Right here, there's a gas station right here where I would go and get my beers, and like a big gulp. It was in the dead of summer, like max summer heat. You know, it gets like, well, it could get up to like 110 here. I would have to be walking clear across this parking lot, like all the way to the end, to the edge of this parking lot way over there. During the mid of summer, it felt like a serious challenge to carry all of my beer and bags, and I had a big gulp, and I would have like make sure I had like extra ice and food and stuff, and I didn't have much on me. It was just a couple of grocery bags. I would park like off to the side over here, and there would be cars parked like in odd directions, flashing their lights at me. Like it was a bunch of people that basically knew my life, knew my situation, knew my story, knew who I was, what kind of car I was driving. It was basically just kind of constantly like harassing me, and like, saying how much they knew me and my life. Another time that I had an issue, because I picked up a megaphone because I would be talking a lot, and it was kind of therapy for me. It was both something that worked for me and it's something that went against me too as well, is because like being alone, though, I ended up talking a lot to myself, and I didn't have any other choices. But I knew that there was Sabrina or Sarah or somebody there listening, even though they were people who were constantly attacking me as well. I kept trying to find a way to reason with them, and there was never any way of reasoning with them. It kind of became this thing where, like, I'll talk as loud as I want to. I could talk forever. I could talk this and talk. And because they were kind of like countering me with all this talk that I was doing, that I figured, well, I'm just going to push back on them. And if they don't like me talking, well, I'll just get a megaphone and I'll just talk even louder. So I got a megaphone, and sometimes I would talk even louder. And I really didn't do it that much. But when I would stay in this parking lot, kind of right there where my U-Haul van is, there would be a guy that would come on his break from Walmart here, and he worked there. He was a part of the loss prevention, and he would come around through the parking lot, cut across through the parking lot, and go to like Taco Bell or Sonic there to go for his lunch. But when he would cross, he would always talk to me like, he would say, "Oh, they're coming, they're coming." So they would always be giving clues to them knowing the situation I was in, but then there wasn't like anything I could really do or say to them, because they would just say, "I'm not talking directly to you," or I'm talking about something else, but it was always like passive suggestive. So anyways, I got on my megaphone, and I ended up, blurting some stuff back out to him. But that happened before the lady here at Walmart kicked me out. I'd imagine that they tried to make it look like that was something that was similar, or that my megaphone ding was kind of like a cause and effect to my getting kicked out, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all. I never thought it was. You got people that walk across this parking lot, and homeless people that park, and cart pushers and all that kind of stuff. So, like everywhere, you got a little riffraff and that kind of stuff. And I would just mostly park and just kind of stay to myself. I didn't really try to bother too many people, because I already knew that they were after bothering me. I wouldn't really do too much, and then they would come around and say some to me, and then I'd just kind of brush it off. Things would happen so instantaneously that I never really got a chance to hurry up, grab my camera, and record. And even if I did, there would have been so many things that that is still missing, because I would have lost all of those cameras.